melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Bridge Coach Mickey Thompson, who unbelievably has turned Stonebridge's season around from an 0-4 start. Well, there was a forfeit in there, but all the way to on the brink of yet another state championship. Coach, congratulations. Great to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. Well, like I was beginning to say offline, last time we talked, it was a difficult time for you. You had a great early season schedule. Talked to Coach Overton yesterday, and he said a lot of times when teams go to the next level, they're not used to the speed of play, and things are just so fast, and they have a hard time adjusting to teams like Freedom, Stonebridge, and also Maury. But those early season losses, those games can really come back and help you at this level, can't they?
They can. One of the things that in 2019 we played Maury, and we got off the bus. I thought we were ready to go, and it was 28-0, and the first quarter wasn't even over. The final score was 28-21. We were able to come back, but the speed of the game just surprised us right from the get-go, and we played our typical schedule, and we just weren't ready for the speed of the game. And that's a great example right there of not being ready for the speed of the game. So I feel like we've already played the state championship in a way already. They've got a glimpse of it. They've already played it, and we didn't do so well. So now we get a chance of redemption. We get a chance to play it again and see where we've come in these last 8 or 9 weeks.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I did look at some of your previous schedules, and this to me was the hardest schedule you ever had non-conference. It looked to me, you played Martinsville, who I believe is West Virginia state champion, good counsel #1 in the Washington Post. Quince Orchard was undefeated for a long time, and then Madison, who was the Northern Region champ. Do you have any regrets about the schedule being too tough? Are you glad you went that path, even though last time we talked, things were a little unsettled?
I am, but I am, maybe not quite as tough, but, we should have played better. You never want to be 0-4 because it starts to hurt your confidence. But, we should have we should have played a little bit better in those early games. I think we learned a lot of lessons, but, it was a difficult stretch as far as just building confidence and building that team culture and that camaraderie. It took its toll a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you graduated a lot of players. I went and looked at the 2022 all-region team for 5D, I believe. And I think you had 7 or 8 seniors on that team. I mean, so you must have graduated a lot of really good players. I know you had a junior quarterback, Brandon Pena, but your running game with Troy Marquez, Tyson Miller, and also Jordan Kaiser, I guess is wing back kind of. Your running game is back. It's together. Neem Gladden's having a great season. Center David Rodello, Miles Turpin, top-rated defensive back. It seems like the personnel there is you have the personnel. And you told me early in the year that talent level, this is as good as any team you had. Has the team developed the way you thought it was going to develop, or have there been some surprises in the way it's developed?
Well, there's been a lot of surprises along the way, but I think the biggest thing is, when you win, you develop this camaraderie and, maybe a false sense of where you're at. And so through this, the camaraderie took a little bit. It took a little bit for the guys to come together because they were having a hard time with, losing and understanding that there was, not criticism, but being able to take coaching and being able to improve. And, it's not the rah-rah, everybody feeling good. So it took a little bit longer, but all those players were there, and they stuck by us and we stuck together, and, we weathered the storm. And I would have been really surprised if we didn't win the region. I never wavered from the thought of that we're going to win the region. We won the region almost every year, but I think we're ready to make a run at a state title now. I really feel like we're coming together, playing well together, and we care about each other now.
Yeah. Well, the games definitely got tougher. I was at the Briar Woods game, the regional final, and it was competitive. But I mean, you guys were definitely at a different level. I didn't feel like they could move the ball on you guys. Very strange game, and neither team wanted to punt or kick the ball at all. But
Right.
it was a comprehensive win for you guys, and you beat Massaponax, and then Matoka. What kind of team was Matoka? I didn't know much about them coming in. Did you expect a tough game from them?
I did. I mean, we played them in 2005, which doesn't seem like to other people it's years ago. It seems like yesterday to me, but very very athletic, big. They're athletes. Where we struggle sometimes is when people have big athletes. Um, and that's what we're going to see this week. We got guys that can play on the outside that are pretty good sized people, and so blocking and things like that on the edge become issues for us. But they were exactly what I thought they were going to be. They had some really good players. They have, I think they had 5 Power 5 guys that have been offered. UVA was there, where I went, but they were there to see the Matoka kids.
Yeah.
There were 3 of them that they're recruiting. But it was a game where it could get away from us. I thought we were in control the whole time, but it was I felt like it was, if we didn't, start making some plays and distance ourselves a little bit, we could be in trouble at the end. So we were able to do that towards the end.
Isn't it in some ways nice when it's a one or two in basketball, you say possession game, but when a team is still within 1 or 2 scores and they're still a threat, in some ways, doesn't that keep you sharp? Can't games be too easy for you? The fact that you had to convert some third downs, convert some fourth downs, stop them in the red zone, the things you have to do to kind of eke out a win, doesn't that keep you sharp?
No. Yeah, it does. I mean, to some degree, you're exactly right. But in the playoffs, I don't want those. I want to just be able to enjoy it, But we have we're playing really well on defense. Matoka, we had there were way too many penalties on defense in the secondary that were good calls, bad calls. I don't know if anybody knows how to call pass interference anymore. But they stayed in the game through pass interference, and that's our issue that we got to be able to fix, because we can't have those kind of calls, in the next game. But I thought we played pretty well on both sides of the ball. We played well on offense the first half. Bend but don't break in the second half and the first half on defense, and then we flipped it. I thought the defense shut them down, and then we got a little complacent on offense. But we need to play both sides of the ball well for both halves to win this one.
Yeah. Now the single wing, I think that's what you call it, right, Coach?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it? I know you've really evolved your offense and been an innovator in the single wing. Have you added new wrinkles to it this year? Because as you've coached at Stonebridge, you've made it into a really diverse type of system.
Yeah. I'm amazed that people, they really don't know what's going on. They don't. We're running some spread plays, some single wing plays. We're in and out of, one or the other. And people confused. They'll say that's a single wing play. That wasn't a single wing play. That was a spread play. And then, the only time that people really understand whether we're running spread or single wing is when we actually spin. When we're spinning, that, then they go, okay, that's single wing. But there's a lot of different variations of it. So it's such a mix now that it's hard to differentiate which system we're running, and that's the problem for us offensively. Being able to put 2 systems in, you have to almost 2 platoon, and then this year, we have I think 4 or 5 guys kind of almost going both ways now, so it's hard to put 2 systems in. So we've had to pare down the offense a little bit, do some different things. It's harder to practice when you have guys going both ways. So I feel what other people have gone through over the years, but we've 2 platooned forever, and now we're having to really, 4, 5, 6 guys are going to have to go both ways.
Yeah. I sent you some photos of the game I was at, bro. I don't know if you received them, but taking photos of your team in the end zone, I had a hard time finding out where the ball was half the time. I mean, so if the offense was as tricky to the defense as it was to the photographer, I think you're in really good shape.
Oh, I like hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. So well, let's talk about Maury. The game's at 5:30 on Saturday down at UVA. Familiar Terry, is that right, Coach?
I think it's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock. Down at UVA, where you, of course, you went to school, played line, both sides of the line for Dick Beswick. Maury is a very familiar opponent. I know you played them at least twice in the state final recently. They beat you in 2020, and I think you beat them in 2021, or 19 and 21, right, Coach?
Correct.
Yeah.
19 is the game where they went up 28-0 early.
That's right.
And,
You mentioned that. When you play a team like that, all the players have changed. There might be one or two players on both rosters, I guess, that they got playing time. Does it matter that you played and beaten a team like Maury when the personnel is all different, or is it good for you because it's still going to be the system that you see and you have kind of a recipe with which to approach the team?
Well, I think both of us know each other now. After two matchups, the coaching staffs are pretty much the same from 2019. Our defensive coordinator has changed, but that's it. So we have we're familiar with both of them as coaching staff wise. So you're not going to fool anybody. A lot of games you'll go into and they're not familiar with you and they don't understand what you're doing, and you can get some cheap touchdowns, things like that. You're really not going to get anything cheap. You're not going to out scheme them. You're not going to do things to fool them or anything like that. It's going to be the players are going to have to win the game. So you're going to have to put them in the right place, give them the opportunity, but they're going to have to make the play. It's not going to be a chess match where you can fool somebody or get cheap touchdowns or have a defensive scheme that you can stop them and they don't know about it. I mean, they've seen everything. We've tried everything against them. We've had moderate success on offense. We've had moderate success on defense, but we've struggled on both sides of the ball with them at various times. So, and they have same thing with us. So we played two pretty tough games.
Yeah. And I would think they're probably not used to your system, even though I don't think many teams run it. So even though they played it 2 and 3 years ago, you still have to stop it. And it's not something they see every day.
Right. I mean, that's why that's our advantage is, no matter if you've seen it and you played against it, this group of kids has not played against it. So now you're having to coach these kids against that system again. So, you hope they get mesmerized by it or they get confused by it, but the coaches will not, and they're really good coaches, so that they'll have them ready.
Yeah. So Coach, what makes this Maury team different than the other Maury teams? I mean, they beat Wise, the state champ of Maryland. They beat Highland Springs. They beat Warwick, that I knew had a great defense coming in. On paper, they've done everything asked of them this year. Very tough year. Is this a very different Maury team than you faced 2 and 3 years ago? Yeah,
this is the best of the three, of the other two, and now this one. They're I felt like the last time we played them, they were physical and kind of bullyish. I mean, they would get after you in the box, and this team has that component also, but this is the fastest team I think we've seen, and they have 10 guys with Power 5 offers. They're big athletes. They can move around. They're running basically the same system. We see the same, and that's the mark of a good team. You can see the same plays. They got little nuances, but it's the same plays. They're running this essentially the same defense, same coordinators. They got the same people coaching them. Look very similar, but I believe they're one of the faster teams we played, and so now we got to deal with speed also, and also that big physical play also. Yeah,
is it one of those things where they can have a lot of speed, but if you have the ball, you can control things. So you can try to, as you know, Coach, I'm a basketball guy. A lot of times you want to try to slow the tempo down, kind of slow the game down. Is there an element of that in football? And obviously you have the offense for doing that.
Well, I mean, that's our, I guess that would be our MO for winning most games. Is not only it's not a matter of scoring. We like to score a lot of points, but it's first downs. Possession of the ball, keeps the ball out of their hands, gives our defense a chance to get a breather. And, we just need to possess the ball, hopefully score enough points, but possess the ball and keep it out of their hands and get our defense off the field a little bit. And it's the same thing. The defense is, they're trying to get off the field. If they get off the field and get it to us, that's an advantage for us. So it's the same thing as we just cannot allow them. We've got to be able to consistently move the ball, and we've got to be able to get off the field on defense, at least here and there, in order for us to be competitive in this game.
Yeah. Well, Coach, when I was young, my sister went to Robinson went to state for basketball, and they won two state championships. And I remember, it was a big deal to go to Ralph's house. When you went to UVA for states, that was a big deal. What does it mean to you to take a team to UVA? I think a lot of the games that you play now are home games, are your home or away. But this seems to be a great environment. It seems to be the kind of trip that the kids will always remember, because I still remember when my sister went, and I didn't even play. Right.
Going to UVA, I mean, especially, I don't know how many more years I'm going to coach. It's not that many more. And the fact that, go back to UVA where I played, that's kind of a big deal. We haven't been there in a while. I think we're 1-3 or 1-4 there. So we need to try to improve that. But, that's where we won the first title that we won. And so it's nice to go back. And plus it's closer. It's a great environment, great setup. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, last question. I really appreciate your time. I know it's a busy week. You mentioned you don't know how many more of these you're going to do. Have you made any progress in talking to one of your sons into taking over so you can be one of his coordinators?
It would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, I dream about that, being able to, stay around the program even when I'm done, being able to stay involved in some way. I really never want to leave the game if I can help it. So I would love that, but they're not teachers. They work regular jobs, so it's kind of difficult for them.
Well, as a dad and not a coach and a granddad, would you worry that they were spending too much time on football? I mean, I know you guys, a lot of coaches spend a lot of time for very little financial reward. The reward comes many other ways. But would you worry about your sons spending too much time on football when they have these careers where, they make a lot of money?
Well, I think they've done a good job, a little bit better than I did. I think I did a decent job. I coached most of my kids' teams and all that kind of stuff. So I made time for them even when I was coaching. But I think they got a good perspective on family and what's important. And so I don't worry about that with them. I would love for them to be able to have the time to be a head coach. But to this point, I haven't seen, they haven't expressed the interest in taking it. So I just keep on pushing along and, hope that I think it's in a good situation now where whenever I do decide to go, I think it's in good hands. I mean, there are some great coaches here that are in place already. So, if they're involved, that's great. If they're not, but I would love for them to be, but that's going to be their decision.
Yeah, what you built is very special. So, I live in Lansdowne and I just moved to the area, but I've gone to some of your games and I love the environment. It has a real football environment, Friday Night Lights, or I've been to a Saturday game as well. So it's great what you built. You've done such an amazing job, future Hall of Famer. So, but I wish you luck. I'll be down there for both games. So, hopefully you guys can win another one. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. So I just want to wish you best of luck and thank you again for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. Really do.
Yeah. Okay, Coach. Have a great day and good luck.
You too. Nice.